any other group on a football team, is gelling, right? You're getting used to the communication between the guy that plays next to you. Two rookies in there, a new right tackle in there that hasn't been here very long. So I would just, the word I would just use is gelling, all right, gelling. Two veterans in Logan and Evan in the middle of the line, but three new guys in there. And the O-line is indicative of what I said in the first question. Other than a couple positions, the O-line didn't play good enough. The quarterback didn't play good enough. The coach didn't coach good enough. We got beat in all aspects. So that's just the O-line's no different than any of the others. But gelling would be the word I would use.
Is there a quality that offensive linemen need to have to be successful?
That would be, if you asked 100, you're asking me that question, aren't you? You're not asking me. I don't know if there's one thing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, tough, intelligent, nasty. I mean, you could use a lot of different words. Productive would be the word that I think we would be voting for right now.
Dirk, talk a little bit about how the score got away a little bit in that first quarter and how that affected your game plan and the balance that you wanted going into that game.
Yeah, well, you can see we need to be a balanced football team right now. Again, with the rookie quarterback, we need to be balanced. If you look at the whole, our run game wasn't too far off. It was still off because we had those penalties that took us out of some decent runs. But in any game, okay, so you get behind, the other team scores. Well, it's the offense's job to score. So they scored on the first drive. We got the ball. Not only did we not score, we gave them a touchdown. So now we're down 2 scores. And then pretty soon we were down 3 scores. So we got out of our game plan quick because we talked about this, I think, in one of my first meetings with you guys, is time and score. Okay, time and score. You only got so many possessions in the game, and you're falling behind. Our game plan was to do different things. Tennessee's game plan was to do different. They didn't blitz nearly as much as we thought, because after they got up a few scores, they started playing more soft coverage because they didn't have to blitz. They didn't really pressure us that much with all the crazy blitzes that we had prepared for. But it happens. You get out of your game plan sometimes. It's not what you want to do, but it happens. It happened in that game.
Sorry, Dirk, one of the bright spots was Austin Siberian-Chick. Can you just talk about the plays that he made and established himself?
Yeah, John Embry, our tight end coach, said in our staff meeting that it was the best game that Austin has played in his 2 years here. I wasn't here last year, but Austin looked like he was moving towards the type of player that we all want him to be. That a second-round pick, a tight end. He had 3 explosive plays in the game. He had 2 touchdowns. He was able to win against one-on-one coverage. Made a beautiful catch on a tip ball. Austin was one of those guys I mentioned that we need more guys to elevate to that level for us to be successful.
Dirk, considering the youth on the O-line and the quarterback, how do you prepare them for the noise factor they're going to face this Super Bowl?
Yeah, next 2 weeks, right? Next 2 weeks, we're playing in 2 of the loudest places in the NFL, the Superdome, and then going to Houston the following week. So, you practice that stuff during training camp. We did have to work on it a little bit. Minnesota in the preseason was our loudest. That Miami game was not loud at all. That's number one thing on our board today on things we must do to be successful in this game is handle the noise. Jameis has played in big games in big stadiums before, so he's experienced that. But the first 2 right out the gate, being in dome stadiums, that is going to be a challenge and something we'll be addressing all this week.
We know secondary is banged up considerably. Is this something you can exploit this week?
Well, we hope to. We hope to. They are definitely banged up. I mean, they have 3 or 4 good football players that won't be playing for New Orleans this week. Arizona was able to do a good job against them in the passing game last week. After the way we played last week, I mean, we have to steady the ship first and foremost. We have to steady the ship, and we have to not contribute to beating ourselves. After you get that, your attack mode also takes over, and then you're right back to playing your strengths, hiding your weaknesses.
Dirk, we know that Jameis is a confident guy.
Yeah,
but when there's so much put into the first game, the matchup with Mariota and how he What do you say to him after he's had essentially like the worst thing that can happen right off the bat?
Well,
What's your
I think
coaching?
Coach Smith did a really good job addressing that with our team, and it's 1 of 16. That is not. I didn't expect that game to go that way. I don't think any of our players expected that way to go, but it did, and we have to own that. We have to own it. It is what it is. We were not good. We were not good enough in any aspect, and I put myself at the top of that list. We have to own it. There's 15 more of them. Your actions are going to speak louder than words. I mean, we talked to the offensive players about that. I mean, we have to come before you. You guys have a job to do. I have a job to do. I mean, I can say anything I want to standing up here, but bottom line is our actions will be judged on our actions. But we do move forward. That's the same for Jameis as well as anybody else.
Is there something you can do to get him? Like I know, like the very first pass, you talked to him about this before the game. Check the ball down. Check the ball down. They're playing, kind of a thing, high safety.
Yeah, you're talking about the interception?
Yeah, like
well, on that one they were actually playing 2-man, so there is no check down. On 2-man, okay,
The running
2-man
back.
is everybody's playing man under, and you got 2 deep safeties. So 5 guys playing man, 2 under. So one of our 5 guys has to win. Period. You got to beat man coverage, and we had a good concept on. We had a guy that's been successful throughout the preseason, beating that coverage, been very good at it, in fact. And on this particular play, he wasn't. And that happens on every level of football. So once again, the quarterback, he made the right read. He was looking at the right guy. The guy was covered. You got to dirt it. You got to throw it away, or you got to become a runner.
Did Jameis, did he continue to do what you've seen him do in training camp and preseason games in terms of mechanics and things like that, or did he fall back into any bad habits in this game?
I think when a game is going like that game goes, I think it's very, very normal to revert back when things are that far. I mean, we're not talking about 1 or 2 scores. When things are that far gone, I think it's very normal to revert. I mean, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to stay focused on, coach speak. We're telling those guys, play this play, play this play, this play. That's rough. That's rough. And the thing that's maybe most disappointing about the game is what a great turnout we had from the crowd. That stadium was ready to go crazy. Our defense goes out there. Our defense gets that big hit on the first play. I'm speaking offensively now. We needed to give them something, and we didn't do that. We needed to get the crowd in the game. That's how you take advantage of your home field. As the game gets out of hand, it's tough to think one play at a time. It's tough, and we need to do better at that. Part of that's experience.
Dirk, you weren't here last year, but penalties were an issue for most of the season.
Yep.
Sunday didn't look much better,
It didn't.
and a lot of them were offensive.
10 of
Uh,
them.
Dirk, how much of that is on your players? How much of it is on you and the rest of the staff?
Well, it's a team game. It's the greatest team game going, so it's on all of us. I mean, 10 penalties. That's ridiculous. We can't have 10. I'm never going to be the one that stands up here and throws anybody under the bus unless it's me. So, we all have to do better. I mean, 10 penalties were called on us. We got to own them, and we got to improve.
They wiped out some good games too.
Absolutely did. That's a true statement.
Dirk, you got Joe Hawley back, from Atlanta. What does he bring to this team? What can he do for the younger guys with the experience he has?
Well, right now, Joe just adds to the veterans we have. We already have Logan, we have Evan, we brought Gosner in. So Joe, we just don't have a lot of veteran backup players. Joe is also a guy that early in his career in Atlanta did start some games at guard the year before I got there, and Atlanta went to the playoffs that year. When I was there, Joe was primarily center. But right now, Joe is in more of a depth providing mode. But his experience, the verbiage is very much the same. I just talked to Joe coming off the field from his first walkthrough, and he's up to speed very quickly, as opposed to most guys you're going to pick up this time of year.
Speaking of
Running
centers,
places.
I was just going to say, is the shotgun, is the snap from Evan Smith to the naked eye, looks like it's very slow getting back to Jameis, is that?
He did have a couple that were, there was a couple times when they rushed Evan hard to his off snapping hand, so he's really focusing on getting that hand up, and a couple of those balls did float a little. That has not been an issue, but it did happen a couple times in that game.
Were there any aspects of that's what we're looking for. That was, did he grade out positively?
No, you're not graded out
No.
positively. Nobody graded out
I
positively.
mean, in different aspects. I know overall it was not.
I mean, I'm sure there are some aspects, but again, when you get beat like we got beat, you know, it's, there's not, you're not, you just gotta tell it like it is. As a coach, the players know, okay, they know, so you're not gonna get up there and, when you get beat like that, and make up a bunch of, well, we kinda did this good, we kinda did this good. You know, Austin had some good plays, Doug had some good runs. Other than that, we gotta do a lot better.
Coach.
There is.
Sorry, you talked about during training camp how when Jameis would make a mistake, an interception or a bad play, that he knew coming off the field exactly what he did. Did that pattern continue on Sunday?
Yes, absolutely. That is one thing. Jameis is very good in that area. I mean, you know, he knows. He takes ownership for it, which is good. But we've got to quit doing it. And you know, that's the same for me. Mistakes I make, I got to quit doing it. I mean, holding on a run play, we got to quit doing it. False start, we got to quit doing it. That's the same for every position.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Locker room's open.